How's it, Keiki and parents? Welcome to the study plan. My name is Sherwin Kim, and in this episode, we are going to be reviewing second grade week 7 words. All right, let's get going. Main idea, second grade week 7 spelling words from Evan Moor. We're going to go through the phonetic spelling and review the categories that are going to be part of this list. Okay, so we have 4 different categories that we're going to review. And the 4 categories are going to be consonant vowels, consonant vowel consonants, consonant vowel consonant consonants, and consonant vowel vowel consonants. The smallest of the 4 groups that we do have is going to be the consonant vowel consonants, where we only have the word gave, and that's going to be a silent e-bopper that's going to be helping the A say its name in that word. In the other categories, in the consonant vowel consonant consonants, we're going to have consonant blends at the very end with ST, ND, and in those words that we have in most, kind, and find. And then also in our last category, the consonant vowel vowel consonant, we're finishing with these inflectional endings in words, ing. And ing is a common inflectional ending for a word that's a verb tense that we are going to consider, or we're going to break down what that is, because ing is not the only way that we see this pattern in there, because yes, it's an inflectional ending, but then there's other words that we use that aren't always ing. So a lot of kids learn ing as an ending to a word, but that's not the only way to use it. So that's ing, there's also ung, ong, ang, and we want to be able to understand that the ng is a digraph and makes it sound ng. So when we're working through these, we can change the vowel that's at the very beginning of that digraph right there, so that we can swap back and forth and know that ng and g by itself is a sound. All right, let's get into these words. All right, so our first word, no. Okay, 2 sounds, right? N, o. All right, so our first word, no. All right, 2 sounds, n, o. And we're going to put 1 underneath each line to represent the number of letters that make up that 1 sound. All right, and this is going to carry on for the rest of our words, so I am going to leave those same lines, those numbers, as we go through each of these words. Okay, so we have no. Next one, if we were to write the word no, we have n as our first sound and then o as the second sound. Okay, let's go into our next word is so. So it's going to be s-o, s-o. Okay. After that, let's do go, g. Let's try and write it, g-o. Go ahead. And here it is spelled out. G, right, is a G and then O. And our last word, do. Oh, this gets a little bit tricky because we've gotten so used to this O sound at the word for no, go, so. But for do, it's going to make the oo sound, but it only has 1 letter. So when we think of oo, let's go to our first sound, d, oo. So d. What letter is that? It's not a popper, right? Like a B, a B, where we make a line with our lips and then the bubble would pop at the end. So the sound's going to pop at the very beginning and then we go up and back down, right? That's how we know it's not a B, which goes the other direction. Okay, so we have D and then oo. Okay, so let's think of what letters do we usually put together when we make the oo sound. That's 2 O's. But we only get the chance to do 1 letter. So what letter is that going to be? Sometimes it can be U, right? The U can make the oo sound. But in this case, like to and do, they are both going to be represented by an O. Okay? All right, so we're going to have to remember that, do. We can help them out by saying d-o, right, or da. Those are other ways to kind of put this, just to kind of build some awareness around what sounds are in that word. But we're going to have to eventually get this as a memorization. Okay, I can't always apply phonics to everything. Now our next word is gave, right? We're in our CVC patterns. So we have three sounds. G, A, V, right? So the sound stops there. However, we know that this one right here is going to be saying its name, right? It says A. How does that happen? Well, there is a silent E at the end. So what does that do? It jumps over and makes that one say its name. All right, so if we're to sound this out, G, A, V. Sound stops at that last one. Now let's try it. So we have G, G, A. Oh, well, it's saying its name. I don't need to write any other letter besides the letter that's saying its name, which is A. V, V. Not F, V. So V is a V, right? And the silent letter is E at the end of a word. All right, gave. Okay, so our next category, only one CVC word, is going to be consonant, vowel, consonant, consonant. So we have 1, 2, 3, it's getting shorter each time, sorry, and 4. Each line is saying a sound. Okay, so 4 lines, 4 sounds, 4 letters. Okay, our first word is going to be most. St. Most. If we break that apart, we have Okay, let's spell it. O. S. T. Excellent. Next one. The word is kind. K. I. N. Okay, now in this one right here, it's saying its name, and it's a letter. Okay, kind. So I'm going to start here at this sound. And the reason why I want to start at this sound right here is because we have a letter saying its name, right? So I, N, D. And it's not a popper, right? And we didn't make a line with our lips and then it pops. We didn't go B. So since it's not a popper, the line doesn't start and then it pops. So that's how we know it's not B. Okay, it's a D instead. But this very first sound right here that we're looking at, because of the I that's right there, there's a rule of why we know it's not a C for this K sound. Okay, there's a rule. Because if a C is followed by an I, E, or Y, the C changes its sound to say S. So it makes a S sound. So that's why we're not going to use a C right here in this first one. It's going to be the other K, which is the letter K. Okay. All right. Gosh, I made a lot of lines, a lot of arrows. Let me get rid of all this. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. And there we go. Back to our next one. So we got to go to the next word is find. Okay. So sound it out. I, N, D. Let's write it. F, I, N, D. How do we discriminate between a F here and a V? Well, one's a very airy sound. You can touch your lip or feel it on your lip. When we make the F sound, air is just passing over the top of that lip. But when we make the V sound, the air's not just passing, it's actually vibrating that bottom lip right there.
Okay, so that's how we gotta be able to visualize and feel these sounds as we're doing it. So how do we know it's not a V instead of an F? And how do we know it's an F and not a V? It is, the F is airy and air passes on top of the lip. And we feel it on our, not on our top lip, but our bottom lip for the F. But with the V vibrates. So that's how we distinguish between them. We got to feel some of these sounds. Sometimes we see them if we're looking in the mirror, but in this instance, we're going to feel it. It's a very noisy sound. Okay. Now let's move into our last category, the CVVC words, right? Okay. And the CVVC, at the very end, instead of being a 1, that's actually going to be a 2. Right? We just kind of talked about this when I showed the whole category. So our word is going, right? So we have actually, this is a syllable that we're going to separate out the 2. Okay? We're going to separate out these 2 syllables in here, which the first syllable is going to say go. G-O. G is G. And then O. We're writing the letter, and then E-ng. So we have this letter saying E right here. Okay. Usually when a letter is making the E sound, it's a 2 vowels go walking, a silent E bopper, or when it's at the end, it could be a Y. However, sometimes this letter is going to say the E sound, I. I is going to make the E sound, okay? Like in ski, right? Okay, so we're going to say go-ing, or to help them out to pronounce it phonetically correct, we can say go-ing or ing. So we can do I-ng, and then ng is 2 letters, right? Put together, that is an N, ng, and we're over enunciating it to help them out. Okay, go, ing. All right, next one. Let's do this. Here we go. Again, almost the same exact thing. We have doing, right? So same rule still applies for this one. It's going to make the E sound, but it is not an E. Nope, do not write E. Okay? And like to, we're writing the word do. So d, oo is just a single letter, O. Right, sometimes you could think it is a U. A U does make the oo sound as well, but this one is not an oo, so I'm going to cross that out. So O is our only other option. And then we have I, ng. All right. Those are our words for this week. Thank you very much. Let's review.
To review, the 4 categories that we had were consonant vowels, right? In no, go, so, and do, right? Do being the one that is an irregular sound because O by itself does not typically make the oo sound. U can, the letter U, or OO does. So we have words like do and to where it's gonna not really play fair. And then we have consonant vowel consonants where we had the word gave. We have consonant vowel consonant consonants where they're blended consonants at the very end with ST and ND. And in our last category for the inflectional endings, we had consonant vowel vowel consonants with going and doing. All right. If you had any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one. Mahalo.